When Zainab opened her first boutique in Lagos, it felt like her whole life had finally aligned. She'd worked for years, saving every penny from a small tailoring job, sketching designs late into the night. Her dream was simple: to build something that carried her name. Her mother, Mama Risi, stood beside her that morning, her smile the widest in the room, her hands clapping the loudest when the ribbon was cut. But later that night, long after the last guest had gone and the boutique's lights flickered off, Mama Risi sat alone. In her room, she stared into a small black bowl filled with ashes, muttering words no one else could hear. To the world, they were just a mother and daughter. Zainab, ambitious and driven, her mother, proud and simple. But beneath that surface, something ancient and dark was stirring. Long before Zainab was born, Mama Risi had made a desperate choice. After years of barrenness, she joined a coven of women who promised her protection, wealth, and a child. The condition was simple, yet terrifying. She would be granted one child, but that child must never rise above her. If the daughter ever became more successful, the bond that tied them to life would break, and one of them would have to die. For years, the covenant slept quietly. Zainab grew into a bright, hard-working girl, completely unaware that her mother's love was laced with a deep, paralyzing fear. But when Zainab's design started attracting attention and her small shop began to blossom into a thriving fashion brand, the delicate balance started to tremble. The more success she gained, the weaker Mama Risi became. Her dreams were haunted by whispers from the coven, voices reminding her of the promise she'd made so long ago. "You were warned," they hissed. "Her rise will be your fall." At first, Mama Risi tried to fight it. She prayed. She burned herbs. She even started attending the church her daughter went to, sitting in the back row while the pastor preached about light overcoming darkness. But the voices never stopped. One night, during a heavy storm, she was summoned back to the forest where it had all begun. The coven gathered under the rain, their faces hidden in shadow, chanting around a circle of fire. Their leader, known only as Mother Adaku, locked eyes with her, her gaze burning with ancient power. "You made a vow," she said. "The girl is defying fate. If she continues, death will come for both of you." The next morning, Mama Risi returned home, soaked to the bone and trembling. That was the day she began her quiet war against her own daughter. It started with small lies. She told close friends that Zainab's fabrics were imported illegally, that her designs were stolen from others. She whispered to neighbors that Zainab was using charms to attract customers. Within months, the poison spread. Rumors slithered through the market. Orders slowed to a trickle. A key supplier pulled out. Then, a popular blogger published a scathing, false story accusing Zainab of fraud. Zainab couldn't understand what was happening. Everything had been going so perfectly. This sudden wave of bad luck felt unnatural, almost orchestrated. She finally confronted her mother one evening, her eyes filled with tears. "Mummy, why does it feel like everything is falling apart? Did I offend someone?" Mama Risi looked at her, a flash of guilt in her eyes before she forced a thin smile. "My child, success attracts envy. Just pray harder." But Zainab started noticing strange things. Mirrors in her boutique cracked for no reason. Her dreams turned into nightmares. She would wake up gasping for air, hearing her name whispered faintly from the shadows. One night, she walked into her mother's room unexpectedly and froze. She saw her kneeling before a small, makeshift altar, murmuring strange words over a photograph of Zainab. The moment their eyes met, the world seemed to stop. "Mummy," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What are you doing?" Mama Risi's face went pale. She stammered something about prayers, but the bowl of ashes and the burning black candles told a very different story. Zainab ran out of the house that night, her heart a tangled mess of confusion, anger, and betrayal. She spent the night in her boutique, unable to sleep, her mind replaying the scene over and over. The next day, her best friend Halima convinced her to see a spiritual woman known for helping people under strange attacks. The woman listened quietly, her eyes half closed, and then said, "Your own blood fights you, but not from hatred. From a curse older than your success." Zainab's chest tightened. "My own mother?" The woman nodded slowly. "She made a vow to keep you alive. But that vow demands your failure." Zainab refused to believe it. It had to be a mistake, some old superstition. But that night, When she returned home to confront her mother, she found her lying unconscious on the floor, her breathing dangerously shallow. Around her neck was the same black string she'd seen at the boutique S opening, only now it was glowing with a faint, ominous light. Panicking, Zainab screamed for help. As neighbors gathered, her mother stirred, her voice a weak, ragged whisper. "I tried to protect you," she breathed. "I didn't want to hurt you, but they said if you became great, you would die. I chose to be the one they would punish instead." Her words hit Zainab like thunder. She knelt beside her, tears streaming down her face. "Mummy, please, we can stop this. We can break it." But her mother only smiled sadly. Some promises cannot be broken, only replaced. Her eyes dimmed as she whispered her last words. "Be careful what you dream, my child. Sometimes success is a curse, too." She died that night. At the exact moment she took her last breath, the candles in Zainab's boutique reignited on their own. The very next day, things changed. Customers began returning. Orders flooded in as though nothing had ever happened. Months later, Zainab reopened her shop with a quiet, heavy heart. She never spoke of what happened, but every night before locking up, she would look into the small mirror on her desk and whisper a soft prayer. Sometimes, when the wind blew just right, she could swear she heard her mother's voice, calm and distant, saying, "I kept my promise." And though Zainab's business grew into something far greater than she ever imagined, she never felt completely alone. Somewhere between the shadows and the light, she knew her mother was still watching, protecting her, even from beyond, still bound by the same love that once tried to destroy her. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.